Jane, let us out right here.
This case is an attack on religious freedom and on the more than 1 billion Catholics around the world. The Church is confident that God's will shall prevail.
Excuse me, why are you doing this?
I think that's clear.
Mr. Riley, do you think you really have a case?
I'm not even going to answer that. What's the matter? That's the guy from the picture. No, that's the guy. Hey!
Oh, excuse me, sir, can you answer a few more questions about the case, please?
He got away. He ran up Allie.
We'll get him. Let's sit.
Will the council please approach the bench? Did we work anything out? Okay, let's go. On the docket this morning is a hearing on a 12B6 motion to dismiss filed by the defendants. Motion, Monsignor, it's your motion.
Your Honor, it is our position that the plaintiff is attempting to insert the government into the defendant's religious practices, which has no precedent in American law.
Even if the church's protection under the First Amendment would cause the infringement of the plaintiff's equal rights.
Your Honor, enforcing her rights would infringe upon the Catholic Church's rights under the Constitution.
Is it your opinion that the Civil Rights Act is unconstitutional?
No, Your Honor, not the Act. But the application of the Act in this instance would be.
Do you have anything else, Monsignor?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Riley, it's your turn.
Your Honor, there is no question that the Catholic Church is discriminating against women by allowing admission to a Catholic seminary to only, and I quote, unmarried males who have been baptized and confirmed in the Catholic faith. This is discrimination on its face.
Well, maybe, but does the government have a right to get involved in their religion?
Your Honor, federal courts assume jurisdiction over the Church of the Latter-day Saints regarding their religious right to polygamy. The courts ruled that the civil laws against polygamy outweighed the Church's right to the practice under the First Amendment. There is no difference here.
Are you finished, Mr. Riley?
Yes, Your Honor.
Our forefathers drafted some of the most poignant words when they said, all men are created equal. Unfortunately, they did not include men of color or women. But as times change, so must our interpretation of how those words were drafted. To do that, we look no further than the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which overturned our forefathers' original intent. So now the words, all men are created equal, includes all men. But that legislation also accomplished something else, to include women. Since there is ample precedent to assume jurisdiction over the defendants and a fact question exists, I hereby deny the motion to dismiss.
Quiet in the courtroom.
I'm prepared to set this case for trial.
Quiet in the courtroom.
Keep it up and I'll put everybody out.
Your Honor, we take exception as this is an issue of first impression.
Exception noted. Mr. Riley, you recognize that this court will have the right to determine whether a mandatory injunction is justified, even if the jury determines that the defendant's actions are not justified.
Yes, Your Honor.
Then this case is set for trial 9 a.m. next Tuesday. Due to the novelty of the case and the disruption in the court today, these courtroom proceedings will be closed to the public.
Excuse me, Mr. Dungard, do you know how much time he wants? Please, sir, just a comment would be great. Do you have anything to say about your personal stance? What about Miss Batista?
You know, hey, it's good stuff.
I know what you're saying.
Great work, y'all. Great job.
A lot of hard work to do and a tough road ahead.
But here's to Allie.
To Allie.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Tommy, your mother's here.
How dare you? In your whole life, you never made a commitment to any woman. Why now?
Mrs. Riley, I'm Alejandra. If you're gonna be mad at anyone, be mad at me. Mr. Riley's just doing his job.
You have no right to do this.
No disrespect, but I not only have the right, I have the obligation.
That is just the tip of the iceberg. Miss Batista, excuse us, please. Our clients, our paying clients, are too frightened to come here because of the rowdy protesters.
I thought you'd be pleased that we were set for a 2-day trial.
2 days more than I wanted. Clean this up.
I didn't want to cause you any grief with your family.
It's God's will, right?
What the hell is this?
That's him.
Jesus.
You okay? He's gone.
God, what happened, mija?
I'm okay, Mama.
No, you aren't. You had an accident.
Mr. Riley, my daughter's life is in your hands. And you're doing a very lousy job protecting her.
I know, sir. I've already got more security.
You see what you've gotten yourself into, Alejandra.
I'm sorry, Papa.
Mr. Riley, you may call your first witness.
I call Dr. Sylvia Tran. Your Honor, Dr. Tran is a licensed psychiatrist in the state of Louisiana. Defense counsel acknowledges that she is used by the diocese in interviewing applicants to the seminary. I respectfully request that she's entered in this court as an expert.
Granted.
Dr. Tran, would you please describe the process by which you examine applicants to the seminary?
We're looking for two qualities, the absence of pathology and the presence of good mental health. We try to do this in a face-to-face interview and by written examinations.
Let's start with the interview first. What are some questions you ask?
We ask about past sexual experiences, such as, when was the last time you had sex? 3 years or more is the preferred answer. Last night, not so good.
And what about some of the other examinations?
All candidates must take an HIV test and a number of written examinations.
Based upon your interview and written examination of Alejandra Batista, did you form an opinion about her fitness to be an applicant to the seminary?
Yes, I did.
And what is that opinion, Dr. Tran?
That she would be a tremendous candidate to the seminary.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Monsignor Renzulli.
Dr. Tran, are you Catholic?
Yes, I am.
As a Catholic and a woman, what is your opinion on whether a woman should be a priest?
I don't have an opinion.
Surely in your work you've witnessed discrimination against women. Is that true?
Yes,
Is the field in which you work dominated by men?
mostly, but it's getting better.
As a woman who has succeeded in a field dominated by men, you're telling this jury there's not just a little part of you that wants this plaintiff to succeed in her quest to be a priest? Dr. Tran?
I like to see women succeed, yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Riley, redirect.
No, Your Honor.
This court will adjourn for lunch until 2 p.m., at which time the plaintiff will call their next witness.
You know, I asked myself, what is the church's strategy here? I mean, hoping for a motion to dismiss obviously was not a strategy.
We will win this case on merits.
Juries often have a habit of interpreting merits in unexpected ways.
But you agree the merits are on our side.
I try never to think of merits, only outcomes, costs, reputations. That way I'm rarely disappointed.
Do you have a destination in mind?
Where does the church want to go with this unnecessary exercise? And let's have no talk of winning and losing.
The church will never let Miss Baptiste be a priest.
Too bad, really. A highly qualified candidate.
But she's not qualified. I must represent the church's doctrine.
That's not what I'm really trying to get at. I was thinking more of a number with more than a handful of zeros.
Possibly. What about the girl?
Bigger obstacle. Perhaps not hopeless. If we're agreed, I'll inform Judge Watford of the possibility of a settlement.